More now on our top story. CUPE education workers have voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate. 96.5% of the workers voted yes as talks continue between the union and the province. And joining me now live for more is Education Minister Stephen Lecce. Minister, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
I look back to a month and a half ago, well before the votes. The union was saying, CUPE, that, we're planning these strike votes, but that doesn't mean a strike is going to happen. So, is what we're seeing theater? Is this brinkmanship, or is this truly a bad omen for the school year?
George, I thought it was amazing to see these kids go back to school over the past few weeks. They were smiling, they were happy, confident, learning some of the critical skills that we know that they need to succeed. I think it is disappointing, frankly, that the union has decided on a path to a strike, frankly, well before the government even offered our first proposal. But I think to many families watching over the past 40 plus years, it is not surprising. We have been through this rodeo before, and I think parents are tired of it. I think they just want us all of us, to work together after 2 extraordinary years to keep their kids in school. And I want to commit to families, given that this disappointing decision by the union to proceed with a potential strike, that we will, our Premier will, stand up so that your child remains in school without disruption. That is a commitment we made, and we intend to keep it.
Minister, without getting into a word or a sort of stat salad, let's talk about some of the big asks from CUPE from the beginning: concessions to sick leave and services. Now, along with wages, where do you see wiggle room here?
Look, we have been working with CUPE through the summer. Our aim was to get a deal that is fair for workers and good for kids. We've offered over 8% over 4 years to our workers. We're maintaining the most generous pension and benefits and 131 paid sick days. I'm not aware of a worker watching CP24 today that is eligible for a nearly 50% increase in compensation. I just don't know anyone that is making those requests on their employer. And I'm asking for us to be reasonable on the taxpayer so that we can get something that we can all live with. But the most important bottom line for the government is stability. Kids need to be in school. And I believe we'll continue negotiating. We're going to stay at the table. We're never going to leave the table because we have a moral obligation to these kids to focus on keeping them in school where they belong. And I hope that cooler heads will prevail. I mean, look, they have a mandate, as they say, to strike, but the people of this province has given us a mandate to keep kids in school, and our Premier means that. And we will do everything we can to provide the stability that kids deserve, that their working parents deserve, and I think that the staff want too. And that's why we're going to continue to focus on a positive program that provides stability for the people of this province.
And you touched on it, right? This is a process. We've been through this before. And we all empathize with everyone, right? I mean, workers are facing record inflation, like all of us are. And their wages, many people have had frozen wages for quite some time. That's not easy. Right. It's not easy for anyone.
Yeah. Look, I think we appreciate the national inflation, the challenges that are hurting everyone in the economy. And that's why I thought our proposal was fair. It's over 8% over the course of that program, while maintaining sort of the very best pension and benefit program, those other entitlements that really make our education workers in Ontario the gold standard when it comes to compensation. I mean, what I think is unreasonable, though, is when a union says, look, if we don't get our nearly 50% hike in compensation demand met, we're pretty much confirming we're going to strike. That is not reasonable. That's not acceptable. That's not in the interest of the children of the province that we seek to serve. I mean, it's been tough you talk about the economy. It has on families. Think about those parents that really didn't get that certainty of pay over the pandemic. They had to struggle. We owe it to those parents to give them some hope that this year will be more normal and more stable and, frankly, a heck of a lot more enjoyable for these kids. And we have a mandate to do that. And my hope is that everyone will work together. We'll redouble our efforts now that they've unpredictably or predictably come out with this decision to proceed with a potential strike. Let's use the next few weeks. I urge the union to sit at the table, never leave the table, work with government to provide a reasonable deal for your workers. What is unreasonable is a 50%, nearly 50% hike in comp, and the government has been clear. We will stand up for children. We will provide stability, and we'll ensure your kids remain in school where we believe they belong. And it just takes all of us to put students first in this discussion.
Minister, last thing, are you concerned about the sort of knock-on echo effects now of this situation with CUPE, the strike vote, on the other outstanding contracts?
You know, they've all been individually, we've been individually negotiating with all of them. Look, I think CUPE, last negotiation a few years ago, for many families, this will not be their the first time they're facing these instability tactics by CUPE. The bottom line is we remain focused on getting a deal with all of our education partners that keep kids in school, something that is reasonable and fair for the workers, that recognizes their good work, but also really prioritizes kids and the necessity for them to be in school learning the fundamentals of reading, writing, and math. So we're going to continue to make our focus on kids. It's why we've enrolled a massive tutoring program. It's why we've increased mental health funding by over 400%. It's why we've provided $650 million more for this school year to ensure these kids get back on track. And I wish the discussion at the negotiating table was, how do we ensure kids focus on learning, focus on healing from the pandemic, frankly, and their mental and physical health. And the government's going to continue to make that case vigorously, to stand up for children, give them a voice, and protect them so that they can stay in school right to June.
Minister Lecce, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.